Oh man. So starting a business in entertainment sounds pretty insane. What's been the biggest holy shit moment so far?
COVID. Yeah.
Makes sense.
2 years after I started comedy, it just stopped. Everything just shut down. And it's like, I went from, it was still pretty much a hobby at that point, but also, your whole goal is get better, get better, get better. 7 to 10 sets a week, 5 nights a week, going. And then all of a sudden everything's closed. And you're not like, they shut down comedy clubs for a really long time. And then when they opened them up, there was crazy like seating situations, and you had to wear a mask, and then you had to cover the microphone, and then they put up like plexiglass, and they were like trying all these different things, and it was so bad. Like it was just like, what are we? Plus, people didn't want to go out,
Right. Yeah.
and it shut down every open mic. There was one comedy club in O'Fallon, Missouri, that was like, be cool. Like they were like, hey, we've been told we're not supposed to be open, but we're open. Yeah. And it was like, and that was, that was fun, but it was 2.5 hours away from my house, and it was only once a week. And so you'd sign up online Monday mornings, and sometimes you wouldn't get on the list, and I would drive up anyway, because I'm like, who knows? First of all, comics are very emotional people. So it's like it gets cloudy out and people are like, oh, I have seasonal depression. And then they stay home, which, not to make fun of people with depression, because I suffer from it too. But it's like, I also get jealous sometimes when people are like, oh, I have seasonal depression. It's like, well, he's part-time.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sorry, your mental disability is like on and off. Like mine puts in 80 hours a week. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
Oh man. So have you dealt with any sort of like, I mean, obviously cancel culture, people are a lot more sensitive, nowadays. Have you ever like kind of dealt with anything like that?
Not really. It's really not, especially in St. Louis. St. Louis is such a great city for comedy because it is a deeply red state, but St. Louis is kind of like a blue city. But so it's like a real purple area,
Yeah.
and you can go to different neighborhoods here and try out the same joke in front of different crowds, and you just tweak it a little bit, And so like, if I have a joke that, well, first of all, I don't ever try to do anything offensive. I don't like to swear on stage. In fact, so I record every set. Every time I swear on stage, I make myself do 31 push-ups because when I was in the Marines, I was in 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. So it's like if you screwed up, you would have to do 31 push-ups. So now when I listen back to my set, I'm like, oh, I said shit. You get down and like, you just like, it's just like a discipline thing.
Man, I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
I'd have the most ripped chest in all of comedy.
Yeah, you think I'd look better. It's like, oh wow, you must be really good at not swearing. No, but there's every now and then you get somebody come up to you and be like, hey, what was that you said? Because like you try out a joke and you try out, a certain wording, and you're like, oh, I can see how that makes it sound kind of bad. Let me try it this way. And then it's like, oh, okay. So like, I do shows. I've done shows where I'm the only white person in the entire room, and I love doing that because I love testing out the material and being like, oh, does it work here? Does it work in the Grove, which is the kind of gay neighborhood?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can say that. I was like, I'm like, cancel culture isn't bad. The gays, like, no, but those are the most supportive crowds, honestly. And
Well, very inclusive.
yeah, because people want to have fun. People like online, everyone's offended, but out in the real world, most people realize like, oh, okay, this is just a joke, or like, hey, this is coming from a place of like lighthearted fun, and it's okay to like take little jabs at people, that for the most part, I think everybody's they just want to have a good time, Now, I mean, I have seen people go up and be like, say the most vile things ever, and then people get offended and they're like, why are they attacking me? And it's like, well, because I also want to attack you, and it has nothing to do with my lifestyle choices at all.
Speaking of wild, what's the wildest show you've done, or like a heckler moment that you've experienced?
Oh man, that's well, one of the biggest like gut checks in the world was I did a show at the Funny Bone one time, and Yakov Smirnoff showed up.
I don't know who that is.
He was a really big comic in the 80s and 90s. He's from Russia.
His last name is Smirnoff.
Yeah, his name is Yakov Smirnoff. He's
Yakov Smirnoff.
Yeah. He's kind of like a comedy legend, and he's a great guy, awesome guy. But he showed up at the Funny Bone one night and just said, "Hey, can I go do 10 minutes? I'm trying out this new bit. I want to work out." And they were like, "Well, yeah," because I mean, his painting is like on the wall at the Funny Bone. Like he's one of the legends, you know.
Sure.
And they were like, "Well, absolutely." So he goes right in front of me, and I don't know he's there. I don't recognize
Bumps
him.
you.
He was wearing a baseball cap, and he's not super tall. And so I'm like, who's this guy standing next to me, you know? And the host is on stage, and I'm thinking he's getting ready to bring me up. And he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest for you tonight. He is a comedy legend. Please welcome Yakov Smirnoff," like that. And I started taking 2 steps, and I was like, wait, that's not my name. and it was like when he was like, "He's a comedy legend," I was like, well, that's nice. Thanks, Andy. That's so cool. Like that. And he goes up and just destroys for 10, 12 minutes or whatever. And the audience that night was, I'd say, mostly middle-aged, 50 to 60. So like they were his fan group, you know, like when he was big, they were like our age. And so when they announce his name, the crowd just goes nuts. He gets off
Weren't
stage.
expecting him either. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just a surprise, which happens a lot at comedy clubs. You have no idea. Like sometimes people are just like, "Hey, I'm in town. Could I do something?" You're like,
Yeah. Please.
"Yeah,
Absolutely.
please. Absolutely." And so he gets off stage, and the host goes, "Guys, give it up one more time for Yakov Smirnoff." Room goes nuts, and he goes, "All right, let's keep it going. We got your next comic. Come to the stage. Please give a big round of applause for Eric Rustler," like that. And there is no claps. It is so dead silent. And as I'm walking to the stage, I just hear someone from the back go, "Who?" And I was like, "Okay, fun. Okay, cool. All right.
Dig myself out of this hole.
Yeah.
Like, right. Who am I?
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life right now?
Yeah, so that's probably like that was the biggest, because it's like when someone heckles, most of the time they're drunk, so they're like, "I have that," and you're like, "What did you say?" And then they don't want to repeat it, and it's just like a weird like, okay, we just pulled the e-brake for a second, and now we're going back. All right, let's keep going, you know. But then when somebody says something like that, you're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, ooh, gut punch, all right, fun."
Do you have any like planned bits for when somebody heckles? Like just shit you have stored up?
I say not really, but I feel like if I was thinking about it longer, I'd probably have like a couple things to be like, "Oh, here's a tool to deal with this situation, or here's something to deal with this." But I also try to be like, as I have a set of like, I'm going to do these jokes tonight, but how we get to each joke could change, or sometimes you just got to be like fluid in the moment, because if somebody yells something out and you're not expecting it, or like you're not ready to deal with it, it's like clunky, and people were like, "Oh, that's weird. He didn't acknowledge what just happened."
He must have not heard her.